Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for a wonderful series that it's about to go on. We're gonna see Trap playing against TY, super high level, Protoss versus Terran, and I couldn't be more excited than this. I'm hereby joined by my loyal co-caster, Fiquasma.
Hey, thanks for having me on here.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and we're just having the last few little details heading into the first game of our series. It's gonna be on Golden Wall, the players are getting ready. It's just gonna take a little while for everybody to join the party. Lots of casters from all around the world are going to be casting this series, so
Yeah,
I think everybody is very much excited.
I think so. I mean, these two players have like a pretty long history of playing each other. I was just doing a little bit of homework, checking on a legal act, and they have quite a few matches. It's interesting. The trends have changed. You know, it started off, I believe, with TY actually taking most of the games off of Trap. But like the past few months, it's been kind of shifting the other way. You know, the Wardy TV series, Trap came in 2-0'd TY and 2-1'd him in the qualifiers.
Was a very good game.
So,
Yeah, like it's very back and forth. Both players have been playing like forever. I feel like, especially TY. I feel like he's been in the scene for like, I think 15 years. I think he was playing. He was pro in StarCraft Brood War as well. And Trap also is one of those players that have been around basically forever, always being very, very proficient at getting trophies. So
yeah, for sure.
also, we're talking probably both players have their best matchup in this matchup. I feel like it's very hard to find someone who's better at this matchup than these two players. It's like the ultimate match. Like, it was a match made in heaven, to be completely honest. I'm very excited.
I can't wait to get into it. It's also I'm stoked because it's going to be this slightly longer series as opposed to just these quick best of threes. So we'll see all of what these players can bring to it.
Yeah, definitely. We're in the lobby. We're just waiting for everybody to join. Of course, everything will be played on Korea, so everybody will have to settle servers and stuff so they don't lag, because otherwise it can be a problem, but it shouldn't really worry us in any possible way. Well, lots of typing in Korean in the chat, but anyway, I think we're just a few seconds short from getting into this first game of the series. It's gonna be a best of 9 series, so as Figos MA said, it's going to be a long series, lots of room for lots of different way of playing the matchup. Both players can play in very many different ways, and I'm super excited to see Trap pull out one of his target plays.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see that in at least one game, if not a lot, most of them. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, how couldn't you be? Like, really? It doesn't really get better than this. Like, I mean, it's Trap versus TY. Let's see how they're faring in this first game on Golden Wall. Also, yes, Trap replaced Zest, who couldn't participate for personal reasons. And we're getting in game 1. Let me fix something super quick. Here we are. And done. Let's see.
Wonderful.
As quick as possible. Pro streamer confirmed. And we're here. Finally.
Perfect. Killing it.
I will start the introduction for our first player, who's spawning in the bottom right hand side of Golden Wall as the Red Protoss. He is from Gene Air Green Wings, Trap.
And spawning on the bottom left-hand side of Golden Wall, it is your blue Terran player. Is he currently teamless?
Yep, yes, it
Yeah,
is.
currently teamless. It is none other than TY.
So both players, of course, are not pulling their luck too much in the first game. We already see actually Trap going for the wall of on the low ground. I guess it kind of makes a sense since you could be a little bit scared of any really aggressive Hellion play, especially since like TY's games versus Deer were quite unfair, to be completely honest. So it's really okay for Trap to play it safe, at least for the first game.
I think another important thing to point out about this map in particular, like on Golden Wall, that front area, the ramp and the little ledge right next to it, those are the only places that a Reaper can get in. It can't get in at the back because of the mineral patches, so the wall. So doing that wall at the front lets you know for sure, okay, this is the only place a Reaper can jump in, I have eyes on it, and I'm gonna funnel him through a little cone.
Yeah, it's not the best Reaper map. Oh, look at this. Stargate play, game 1. I guess
Right,
it is
out of the gate.
signature play after all, right?
Sure. That's definitely true. I was watching the probe that was hiding in the top left, wondering if it was going to be proxy or something like that, but it is just in the main.
A little bit of a hit here in the natural of TY, who's gonna get his command center in the natural slightly delayed. Well, not even that slightly. Of course, the Reaper is there, but the second Adept is actually joining the battle. There is one alien out, but 2 Adepts cannot fight an alien right now. Only Marines chime into the fight, the command center finishes. But overall, it looks like Trap is doing quite nice. Alien sniped as well as the Adept, but another one is through the map. And the first Phoenix is soon to come out.
Hero probe coming out to get that last hit on the Hellion.
Yeah, it was an interesting play. Let's leave it at that. His Reaper is still alive, by the way. I have no clue how it survived this much. It survived like 4 Adepts. I don't know how it did it. But it did.
Yeah.
So, Trap is going to add the robotics facility to his build loader. TY is still quite blind about what is going on in his opponent's base. I guess metagaming can come into play. We see a first Viking being out, so I don't think he's going to really be surprised about 2 Phoenixes joining in. But no Oracle. That is interesting.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see an Oracle pop out first, and I had to double check the units tab to confirm. We've got these 3 Phoenixes. Oh, nice lift on the Viking too. Will they get it before the rare? Oh, they do snipe that Viking before the repair finishes.
I always find it very interesting when a Phoenix actually lifts up a Viking. I think it's one of the most fun interactions in the game. Like, of course, the save was there from TY, but you cannot stay safe too long from Phoenixes altogether. Of course, trying to get a tank as well is not going to be an easy task. But as far as those Phoenixes survive, I think map control will be in favor of Trap, and map control is a very important thing on Golden Wall. Since like there is not a lot of map to control, since the lower part of Golden Wall usually should stay untouched for a little while. So it means basically you're gonna know everything that's going on, and knowing this is quite important. Command center going on in the golden base, and 5 SCVs have gone down for TY in the attempt of leaving these Phoenixes at bay.
Yeah, now it looks like Trap is actually going for those back mineral patches, possibly going to drop the Nexus here in that pocket base shortly, and sure enough, there it goes. So both players going to take their third. TY's did go down a little bit earlier, but because these Phoenixes keep killing off the SCV, it's been delayed, and I think the Nexus is actually going to finish first.
Also, Trap fighting also Vikings and Marines and coming out on top. Getting a kill on one Viking. Those are God's expensive units. Getting any kill is quite a good fit. But over here, Trap was hiding just in place to get one free cyclone. Where is this Immortal going? Misplay from Trap. Loses one Immortal for free, and that's a very valuable unit into this hold. Phoenixes don't have a lot of energy as well. Here comes the first fight of this game. It looks like force fields are gonna keep TY at bay long enough for the first Colossus to be out. It's time for the Phoenixes to do the hard work. 2 tanks are going to be lifted, but the Phoenixes get sniped down before they can do real damage. The Immortal will go forward and get the last tank, but of course losing that one Immortal before was a very big hit. This Colossus is gonna hold the door for now. But what will Trap do against the drop? 14 SCVs have gone down. Yes, that's an astounding number. Trap has pushed TY back, but now he's very much out of position. He probably needs a recall. His Nexus in the main doesn't have enough energy. No Nexus has enough energy. These Marines are going to steam forward into the main of Trap. Finally, Stalkers are out, but it's not gonna be enough. Free damage. Oh, what?
Yeah, so while this is
How
going
many
on,
SCVs have gone down?
I was just looking at that. You know, for the units lost tab, it looks like we ended up losing 16 workers, and that push across into the third base, you know, shutting down that golden one more time, I think was just enough to push TY over the edge.
Yeah, I guess it was. I guess it was like a little bit too much for Trap to hold back on. I think he wasn't really relying on defender's advantage to cut it completely.
Yeah.
So in the end, it was quite a good show from Trap in defense. Even after losing that one Immortal for free, he was able to have enough stuff to push forward. The SCVs were falling left and right, and I guess TY didn't want to play the rest of the game by being so behind. Even like having that one little bit offensive command center, a little bit more towards the base of Trap, he couldn't have defended it, and probably that's the real reason he tapped out of the game. Yeah, TY had gold, but he wouldn't have a gold base for too long, to be completely honest.
Yeah, with the Colossus there and the Stalkers in a couple centuries, probably deny mining there. Would likely have to lift the gold. Might have been a little bit premature, but not too, I think these players know what's going on in the game better than we do, so I trust TY's assessment of the game. I know I hang out in games probably a little bit longer than I should sometimes.
Yeah. And for the next game, I'm going to also add a nameplate for Trap. I know it's written in the title, but yeah, I will have to probably add on a nameplate because he's playing on his barcode account. Of course, he's in Clan Trap, so to show up the name in these kind of games. But I guess it can make it clearer for anyone who's chiming into the stream and not knowing what is really going on. Yeah. Even though, like, if you come into this stream, I think you probably have quite a good idea it's going to be some high-level Korean StarCraft players already. The second map is going to be Simulacrum, and I think it's a good choice from TY. Quite a good terrain map.
Yeah, pretty classic map. You know, it's been in the pool for a little while, so I think TY is probably much more comfortable with this map than he was with Golden Wall. Yeah,
also, like, Simulacrum kind of implies he wants to play a little bit more of a defensive game, since, of course, the bridges, the choke points, the ramp that are very easy to defend, the rocks, and all of that make it kind of hard for a Protoss player to walk through the map. Especially once EMP becomes a thing in a matchup, like getting into a choke point and being vulnerable to shockwave EMP can be quite a mess for the Protoss player.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, with the way, I believe they not recently, but for this season they changed Simulacrum just a little bit to kind of make the south side choke a little bit better for defense.
Yeah.
So the south side of the third, that is.
Yeah, it was especially oppressive for Protoss players to like push into Zergs into that choke point. It's not going to make that big of a difference unless you're talking like for a big tank push, but you still have to go through the choke point near the rocks. That is going to be like the main problem of getting into the third base of any of the two players. That's why Simulacrum is such a good defensive map, because of those rocks mostly. So...
For sure. Well, we looks like we're getting things all set up here. Would you like to introduce our first player?
Of course, spawning in the top left hand corner, currently leading the series 1-0. Playing from GR Green Wings, it is Trap.
And in the bottom right-hand side of Simulacrum is your blue Terran player, currently teamless. It is none other than TY.
Of course, recently became a GSL caster as well. Otherwise, would have been probably fun himself a team way earlier, but he's currently getting 2 gases and proxying a Rex in the middle of the map. Really, will it be like his famous 1 Rex proxy and factory proxy, very aggressive early tank push, or will it be just Reapers?
I will have to wait and see. There's only 1 SCV out here, so if it was going to be Reapers, I would almost expect there to be a second one to make like more barracks maybe. So I think it's just going to be this guy adding on the factory and then Stargate, but it's actually the SCV's queued to go into the main, so I think only time will tell.
Trap trying to find out where the proxy is. Of course, he's going to make his cybercore before anything else. A Zealot also on the way, just to say a little bit safer overall. But yeah, Trap doesn't know about the proxy, but I don't feel like this could be like a game-ending proxy. Meanwhile, TY has walled off his main completely. This probe will get in the end, but not to a great deal, really. Reaper is in the main base of Trap. Instead, of course, facing a Zealot is not going to be a hard battle for this Reaper. Going to get 1 probe, and the bunker in the natural is gonna block Trap from getting some stuff done for quite a while. Overall, I think this is a very clever play from TY, forcing such a big reaction from Trap. I wasn't really thinking he would have reacted this much.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the bunker going down into the main, this is going to make it quite difficult. And, 2 Reapers up here, they're going to run up, kind of be able to start picking off workers even more. And Stalker's on the way to try to start denying these things.
Almost got a 3rd probe to a total of 4, but he's going to stay at 3. This bunker over here is going to be salvaged probably in just a little while, once the Stalker comes as well. But yeah, like, it was such a low effort build from TY that is getting so much done. He needs to salvage it right now. Well, he won't probably... Oh, actually... Oh my god.
Getting the salvage.
Not bad.
Yeah, I almost wonder if instead of chasing the Reapers, if Trap should have just, gone for the kill, just deny the guaranteed 75 minerals, as opposed to, chasing and hoping to catch.
Yeah, to get a gas advantage, of course, would have been quite a good thing, but it wasn't really possible. Like, right now, he's getting a target with an Oracle, of course, and yeah, TY just lost 1 SCV to the whole of this, and his build order is not really that far behind. We've seen him play mech versus Deer. He's not gonna play mech now, I feel like. He's going to add on more racks. But he is still the player who can threaten a good mech game even against Protoss. And it's not something Trap can really ignore after the series versus Deer of the last GSL group.
Yeah, yeah. I think one thing that is important to note that even though those Reapers were in the main and the natural for so long, they technically didn't get vision of the Stargate, and I think those Oracles stayed out of sight of the Reapers as well.
Even just slightly, I think you're right. Like, I don't think they saw the Oracle at all. I still think TY is way good in defense for this. I think he has a Cyclone, yes he does, and a Raven as well. So he shouldn't be scary at all, to be completely honest. And now he sees the Oracle with the Reapers. He's going to lose all of them, but for a good reason.
Yeah, I mean, they got the scouting information in there. He doesn't know that there are 3 Oracles, though. And the third Oracle is always the question mark. 1, okay, yeah, that's good. 2, I think the third Oracle is the big brain play Oracle.
Yeah, also with a Phoenix out, even the Cyclone cannot really do much about it, nor can the Raven. That's how good just one Phoenix is. It's a very good unit, very versatile. And that will shade through to grant Trap some more scouting information. He will see that this is not mech. He will have confirmation by the NG Bay as well. So I think he will be a little bit released because, of course, not having a Robo Bay and having to play against mech at this stage would have been quite a problem. The Raven will siege the Cyclone and make the lock-on fail. Of course, now he's focusing down the Raven with an auto turret. Will get the Phoenix as well, thanks to the aid of some of these Marines. And these has suddenly become a little bit harder of a push from Trap, who's also gonna lose another Phoenix. A little bit of a misplay again. These Oracles are also going to fly in a little bit of a dangerous spot with the missile turret just barely finishing. They're going to fly away with 5 kills, but 2 Phoenixes have gone down for Trap. And it's time for a drop to come. There is no Phoenix to threaten these Medivacs, and TY knows that he can deal some serious damage right now. Steam almost finished as well.
Yeah, that's an important point. I mean, I know that Trap kind of sent that second Phoenix in to snipe off the Raven, and he did succeed in getting the Raven, but like you said, there are no Phoenixes to chase these Medivacs down across, and they're just gonna unload next to this third base, and 3 sentries is not enough to kill.
That's a lot of gas going into the sink for Trap, who's also going to lose more stuff. These Oracles also flying into their depths pretty much. 2 of them are going to fall. So much gas lost for Trap, who now has just a bunch of Stalkers. TY gonna steam forward again. 2 Marines are going to be lifted, and once you lift Marines, you know that your game status is not that great at all.
Yeah, lifting Marines means either you're super far ahead or you're in real trouble. This one medevac in the main is going to get picked off by the Phoenixes. And 10 total workers have fallen at this point. Now, Trap is still up, 49 to 41. Well, as I say that, another worker... 2 workers at very low health, 4 health each.
TY will also lose 1 of his Marines, but then again, I think he got so much damage anyway. Just look at the amount of gas that Trap has lost. 1,000 gas has gone into the sink for the Protoss player, and it's time for TY to start a push. There are a couple Phoenixes, so I'm not super sure he can deal enough damage, but of course, the Widow Mines are gonna enable himself to at least have a good siege up position. Oh, the Widow Mines are trying to get ahead. This is a good siege overall with the tank just outside of the rocks. Widow Mines will also dodge the shot failed from the Zealot coming. There are 5 Phoenixes chiming in. Medivacs trying to save the most of the Marines. Meanwhile, the tank doing all the rest of the job. Templar Archives is on the way for Trap, but it's not gonna be there in time for him to get enough Archons to deal with this as quick as possible. Phoenix is trying to get on top of the Medivacs. Widow Mines trying to get the shots they need, and this tank is ramping up damage. Trap goes down, and TY ties up the score. Well. It's just an incredible game from TY. So clean.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the opening did way more damage than either. I definitely more damage than I thought. I don't know about you, and
Yeah,
it
of
felt like
course.
it really caught Trap off guard.
Yeah, really, like it wasted so many resources into actually doing something out of that Stargate opener a little bit earlier, since his natural nexus was so late, and he went into the triple Oracle double Phoenix play and he lost both Phoenixes. Like,
Yeah,
everything has gone south pretty quickly for Trap in this game. And I think it was an
Yeah.
outstanding victory, to be completely honest, for TY.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think killing the Raven certainly is something that you want to do given the chance. You know, it's gonna
Yeah.
keep the Dorito powder, that
Yeah, yeah.
anti-armor missile, off of your units. He didn't have any Colossus or anything like that, so you didn't have to worry about uh, the missile coming in and shutting down his units, preventing them from doing that splash damage.
It was like, I understand the attempt from Trap to try and get in the Raven. Of course, it was a very important key unit to try and bring down. But in the end, of course, you have to be also a little bit lucky. Those Marines being just at the right time, at the right moment. And the last shot from the Phoenix not getting on the Raven. It was just like this small detail that could have made or break the current scenario. I still think that TY was just a little bit too ahead, and his subsequent push just was a little bit too strong for Trap to do anything about it. Also, the execution of it, like, it was very clean.
Yeah, getting those mines burrowed right at the right spot, the right time.
I'm burrowing
really
them
strong.
to avoid getting the single zealot, just
Yeah.
the Phoenixes not having a real target to get on top of. Like, it was a very well done push.
Yeah, and I mean another thing too is like his ability to just kind of pick up all of the bio units in those medevacs, drop them down behind the force field, and not lose any of the medevacs to the Phoenixes as they're coming in. Just very well executed all around, like you were saying. Well, we're in this next game here.
Yes, we are going to fix the nameplate as quick as possible once again. Trying to be... Okay, it looks horrible, but it's there. Yeah, okay, it isn't even like... It doesn't even look like Trap, but it is Trap, guys.
Trust us, we
yeah, let's introduce him a little bit better as well, because he has been tied in the score, but not in the spirit. This player can pull off some crazy things, such a solid player, and this series is way too long for himself to be counted out after a bad game. Playing for Gina Green Wings, hailing from Korea, it is Trap.
And in the bottom left-hand side of Everdream, it is our blue Protoss player currently defending his barracks building SCVs from the evil probes of Trap. None other than your unteamed hero, TY.
Exception made is not really Protoss.
Yes.
The command center goes down, a little bit out of position of course, but TY will not have it delayed any longer. We'll also get some scouting of his own on the other side of the map. 780 score is gonna finish just in a second. And it's time, of course, for the Adept to be started for Trap. Who's also keeping this probe alive for further scouting. The Reaper is out, will intercept the probe, and no further scouting will come for the Protoss player as of now.
And after picking off the probe, the Reaper is going to kind of hang out in the middle of the map, wait for the Adept perhaps. Oh, the Adept coming back home. Both players content to just kind of take their expansions, get into the mid-game portion.
Yeah, we see Trap going for a little bit more of a standard opener over here, dropping his Twilight Council. And
I think it's really
gonna go into Blink, of course.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most common openings against Terran in the current meta is going for this Blink expansion. Um, what are your thoughts on making this Twilight Council so far forward? I kind of feel like if you put that in the main somewhere, so the Reaper had to dive a little bit deeper to get it, that kind of keeps the possibility of maybe these openings starting again in the head of TY.
I think you're definitely correct. I still feel like TY will get scouting of this, but of course just putting that little bit in a forward position enables it maybe not to be scouted from Liberator play, and probably like after playing tons of games, Trap kind of knows that even a Marine drop or a Widowmine drop will likely not fly too close to that position, at least not immediately. And just like keeping it hidden for a little while, even though I still feel like TY is kind of trying to be prepared for both of the openers at any possible game. Like he's kind of playing the defensive style of TVP, like dropping the bunker, having the Cyclone first instead of the tank for an earlier push, delaying Steampack a little bit, even though it can be a little bit scary when Blink Stalkers can get into your main base. Like all of these little things, and then you try to gain map control through drops. I feel like that's like the bread and butter of the matchup, and I really like him to try and keep himself as covered as possible from all kinds of openers.
Yeah. I think it looks like TY is going for a very marine heavy kind of opening. We've got 3 Raxes here cranking out all of these marines. Stim is on the way, a couple of mines and a medevac popping out. We'll see if those first 2 mines load up into the medevac for a mine drop, or if he's just going to hold on and go for a bigger push a little bit later.
The Templars Archives out of Trap. Also on the early side, he wants to get into Archons, the AoE damage through Storm a little bit quicker. We see it also from the upgrades getting in a little bit quicker. Charge should be started shortly as well. I suspect Trap wants to go pretty much on the offense as soon as he gets a chance. And TY is going to expand to, which I feel like is not definitely the optimal position, at least in the matchup. I feel like he's scared of Storm, most of all, and it's the right call. Like, it's the right call for this scenario, but he didn't even see the Temporal Archives. I mean, how does he know?
Yeah, there's just like a sort of weird sixth sense going here. I mean, with the, he's seen several Stalkers at this point, or at least 3 or 4, which is more than you typically identify. And with that scan, he actually has confirmed, although...
he barely misses it.
Just out of it.
Yeah, he was probably looking for the army of Trap that wasn't really there. Both players really defensively and passively playing this matchup. Finally we see TY currently advancing a little bit forward on the map with his army, probably trying to exploit the mobility of it through Steam, and knowing that there are not many Stalkers around. He's now also checking for any possible pylon being placed here and there. He's going to add his Ghost Academy. Of course, then AoE spells are going to be a staple for the next few fights. Charge is on the way as well as +2/+2. Trap really raising those upgrades.
Yeah, it was funny, I was watching there's a Marine and a Stalker that were kind of in a little standoff, just barely outside of vision of one another, but then finally Zealot came forward and baited the fight between the parties. Zealot will fall as it continues to go scouting.
Still feel like Trap has a little bit of a lack of tech right now. Of course he has Storm, he is getting those upgrades real quick, he's getting Charge, but what if there was coming like a tank push? What could he have done? Like, I'm not super sure. Like, both players are really metagaming each other right now. Like, they
Yeah,
are
I think-
really playing off the playstyle of their opponent. Like, it's very clever.
I wonder if perhaps what Trap was doing, I mean, he has great vision here. He's got these Zealots spread out, the Observer. There was the Adept at the top that spotted this Doom drop before it got to the main. And I think that the plan would have been to catch the army before... Snipe coming down,
Snipe
picking
on
up
the
one.
Templars, one very good EMP is gonna take a lot of energy and a lot of shields. This fight will not go in favor of Trap, and the Protoss player knows this and backs off of a very bad position. One more scheme forward to get on top of these Zealots in the third base. One medivac will go down. The fight is spreading to different sides. Excellent storms from Trap are going to get the damage the Protoss player was looking for. Charge is still on cooldown. It's now out of cooldown. These Zealots are trying to chase down the army of TY, but Trap a little bit overextended with a bad fourth storm. Not gonna get any more damage. The first 3 storms though, those were just outstanding.
Yeah, that was right on top of all of the Marines. TOI trying to do a little bit of splitting, but Trap kind of, kind of blocking him off with those storms. And here we go, a little bit of pressure again. King's poking forward. Ghost coming up, looking for the storm or snipe on some High Templar. Ooh,
Very good
beautiful EMP. Yeah, EMP, not storm. Excuse me.
The storms are really helping Trap. All this one very good storm is gonna allow himself to grant it enough time to get another Archon into the battle. Planeswalkers are gonna blink behind those Archons, but one of them will fall down. It's time for the Stalkers to do the rest of the work, and one Colossus finally joined the battle. Trap at it just at the right time. Meanwhile, the counterattack on the other side of the map is getting quite a lot of SCVs. These Zealots relentlessly looking for more damage. 12 SCVs have gone down total, and just 7 probes were pulled into the battle from Trap. Overall, the Protoss player, having exactly what he needed at the right time, will be able to push through the map. 2 Colossi are out right now. Also, a War Prism is gonna be there to enable the Protoss player to reinforce this location. And it's time for TY to play the defense. These Stalkers are very threatening to his army right now. Not enough Vikings, I feel, to snipe down the War Prism and the Colossi before anything happens. Leader Mine shot will be dodged. Those Colossi really putting a lot of effort in it, as well as the Ghosts trying to get the perfect EMP. Vikings will get one of them down, but it's time for the Vikings to go down as well. The War Prism a little bit exposed, but not enough. Trap will continue push forward, and TY will need to call the GG.
Yeah, I think those 2 follow-up Colossi slowly waddling across the map was the nail in the coffin. It was interesting, during the first kind of engagement at Trap's third base, the Vikings were landed. I think he was unaware that the Robo existed at that point. So he's like, all right, I'm just going to land these Vikings so I can fight. You know, his AoE is all storm. The Vikings got picked off by the Stalkers, and then a Colossus came up, and that's what allowed him to kind of hold that Nexus, only losing those first 7 probes. So very well done by Trap.
Yeah, execution and also the idea getting into this game. Both players really passively getting to the state of the game they wanted to play at. And once again, I cannot stress this more. Like, both players made a lot of very weird choices that were making so much sense in the current state of the game, but wouldn't have had any sense in any other state. Like, it was so well fitting that I'm very, very impressed by how both players have played this game. Of course, the storms, I think, were what made the difference into this game. And we're getting ready to get into game 4 on Zen. But before we get into this game, I want to talk a little bit about something that makes all these events possible. And that something is one of our sponsors. Of course, I'm talking about G Fuel. I want to give a little bit of shout out to them. It's official drink of esports. Since 2004, they've been out forever, helping players, pro players, everyone to have these high energy drinks and beverages to help people stay focused on their games. People like PewDiePie and Dr. Disrespect are some of the faces of this product, And currently they've also released a new taste. It is called Castor's Guava, if I'm reading this correctly. Tribute to the streamer Castor. Don't know if you heard about him. And it's also a limited collection, so make sure you get your hands on this product, because G Fuel is gonna help you stay focused, as it has helped stay focused to all these great players.
Yeah, for sure. And we do have to, like, I can't stress how much these sponsors are necessary to help us put on wonderful events like this. So make sure to check them out and show them support and let them know that you appreciate them supporting esports.
Let's get into the introductions, because currently this series is led by this guy in the bottom left hand corner of Zen. He's spawning as the red Protoss. He plays for Gene Air Dreamwings. You may have heard of those great players. He's one of them. He's one of the best of them. One of the best Protoss players in the planet. It is Trap.
And spawning in the top right hand side, his proxy has just been scouted, and this SCV will go down. We'll see what he's gonna follow up with. It is none other than the blue Terran player, TY. Okay, it looks like there is a follow-up SCV.
I feel like he was really well prepared for this. But then again, it's a little bit of a delay that is gonna enable Trap to react to this a little bit better compared to what has happened on Game 2 in Simulacrum. And Trap is also gonna react with a proxy pylon of his own. So we have a game, everybody.
Yeah, and the probe's still there, so this isn't one of those mind game, I'm gonna hide a pylon so that you're like, where's your second pylon? This is actually a third pylon, right? So if TY were to go into the main base of Trap, you would see two pylons, not know that anything is wrong. Yeah, the Reaper's gonna come up in this same opening, but it's very delayed, and at this point, the Adept is already out to start shooing this Reaper off.
Yeah, the factory was also quite quicker for TY, so he's already thinking about a backup. The first Reaper will also go down before he can actually do anything, as well as the bunker. I think that probably TY will just have this Reaper and then leave the barracks and go back home. Okay, another Reaper on the way. But Trap has his target being proxied, and it's almost finished. I feel like this game is very short-lived for the Terran player, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have one Cyclone pop out here. Stargate has finished, nothing being produced out of it quite yet. Getting Chrono Boosted, there we go, we've got the Oracle coming. Cyclone should be able to kind of shoo the Oracle away, but we'll see if he gets a few workers in before having to evacuate. And if there's a Phoenix follow-up, the Phoenix is going to be able to lift that Cyclone, and the Oracle just go to town on the workers. Nothing else here shoots up. Barracks has not been able to land yet, and the next Cyclone is a little ways out.
Finally, TY, we get some confirmation what is going on by sending the Reaper through the map. He's checking for the main, and he will check for any tech being dropped. I think an experienced player such as him will know in just a moment that something is amiss. Yeah, he's looking everywhere for something, and he knows now. The Cyclone will be prepared to face anything coming. But yeah, you were talking about a Phoenix. It would have been very good, but also 3 Oracles can kill a Cyclone very quickly. Lock-on will be wasted on an Adept, and it's the right time for the Oracles to get into the battle, get one of the Cyclones, and then head away after forcing the lock-on from the other. SCVs need to be pulled to help this one Cyclone stay alive, but it won't stay alive. So many SCVs would have fallen. TY knows this game is not easy to take. He taps out, and Trap will get a 3-1 advantage. Well, it was a short-lived game after all.
Yeah, that was a very good call. Good game sense and great scouting by Trap. You know, finding that early racks and being able to kill the SCV. I think that barracks was like 2 or 3 seconds out from finishing, which is a huge difference because that delays the factory from going down for a while. It delays that first Reaper. So very well done by Trap, picking that off before.
And once again, it's like very hard to address that scouting to luck more than actual knowledge of your opponent. Like, once again, like these players have played each other like I think hundreds of times, to say the least.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
it's really, really interesting to see that Trap, like, he head on straight immediately into that location. He didn't go through the main path in the middle to get an earlier scouting. He immediately sent his probe to that position and he found the proxy racks. And like, I do not think that was luck. I do not think that was luck at all.
No, and I'm sure that the probe was actually rallied to go through a couple different locations. You know, that map has a few places that are advantageous for hiding a barracks like that. And Trap doing his due diligence to make sure to check all of them. So very well done indeed.
Yeah, someone has typed Trap makes Darren look so weak, and I currently have to agree because like he's not even playing like, I don't know, he's not playing like a weak player. He's playing TY. TY has currently beaten Deer 2-0 with Mech, making Deer look like a rookie. Like it was a devastating victory for him, and at this stage it's so impressive to see Trap perform this great.
Yeah, I mean, I think technically if you look on a legal act, I think TY is rated higher than Trap, but Trap's PvT is just on point. So
I go out to say that probably it's the best PvT player in the world. I can't really imagine better Protoss players at this matchup, at least.
Yeah.
Well, we have told about him quite a fair bit, but it's time to introduce him to you guys. He's currently playing on a barcode. He's in the purity side of purity and industry, in the top left hand side, playing for G Air Green Wings. Trap.
And spawning in perhaps the appropriate side of the map for a Terran player, we're talking about the industry dark side. It is none other than your teamless blue Terran player, TY. I think it was you actually that pointed out the Wraith logos in the industry base here. So fun little tidbits.
Yeah. Also, I feel like we've talked about this, like doing these introductions on this map. It's always very interesting, and I feel like the Protoss player always spawns in the purity side, and the Terran player always spawns in the industry side.
Such an interesting point. Yeah, I think in all the games that we've casted of PvTs on this map, you're right. And it's not just like one. I feel like we've done at least two others.
Yeah,
this will be like the third or fourth.
Yes. It's actually very funny.
Statistic.
TY not pushing his luck again with a proxy. Gonna have a bunker in the natural, and of course he's gonna start out his taking up race with a cyclone, I feel like.
Yeah, we do have that fast Stargate from Trap, and I think that's a good call. I mean, the air distance, even though we have these slow zones, it's just so short between these two bases that I think it's a very strong opening from Trap. Gets you your scouting information, perhaps pick up XP workers.
Have you seen this save from TY to complete the command center and then save the SCV by pulling the SCV into the command center? It was like very funny. TY also has an SCV through the map. He has a starport ongoing back home. I don't think he's going to proxy, but what is this SCV for? Scouting? What are you going
I don't know, because it's right next to a Reaper. Perhaps he was just, he sent the SCV all the way down around, wanted to check the gold base.
You definitely have a point. Yeah, I think you're right. It could have been just a rally and a shift click Scout.
Yeah.
The Oracle will come into the natural of TY, will get a couple SCV, just the one, actually, no, actually two, before heading out. Once the Marines join out, gonna get also another little kill. Of course, trying to slow down the Terran player. There is one Reaper in the main of TY, which will get 2 probes killed. There's probably 2 probes too many.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
oh my god, as TY seen this, it didn't see this. A fleet beacon in the natural of Trap. Interesting, interesting.
Okay, so here's the question: is he gonna go for those capital ships, the Tempests and the carriers, or is this for some sort of like? It can't be for Void Ray speed. I mean,
His Oracle lost. No, I think it's going to be Tempest. Yes.
Yeah.
But then again,
Yeah,
yes, it's gonna be Tempest. It's just the one for now, not a second target on the way. Of course, a map such as Purity and Industry, like this build is looking exactly like the build Protoss player used to do on Stasis. Don't know if you remember the map.
It's been a little while.
Like it was like this map, basically the same, without the air blockers, well, without the inhibitor zones, but with the air blockers. And
Okay.
like it was basically completely identical, and it had golden base at the third base location. Basically, like midway between the third and the fourth base, there was a little bit more forward golden base on a ramp, and every Protoss was doing this Tempest opener, because actually the rush distance was huge, but the air distance was so little, and it had those rocks into the main base, blocking this little pathway between the two main bases. It was a very weird map.
Yeah, I think there have been some maps like that over time. You know, I think the first one that I can remember and think of is Scrap Station, right?
Oh my god, Scrap
maps
Station.
that have these kind of wonky, close by air but really long ground routes. Now I like this battery location here. We're just going to set up a siege line, warping in units. I wonder if we're going to see gateway added as well.
Those cyclones are so squishy. That one cyclone, 3 shots, almost fell down. It's time for TY to bite back, apparently. He's trying to lose as little things as possible to this Tempest. Currently trying to save the tank. He's going to keep it alive, losing a couple SCV for this. And I like that he's going all out on the aggression, because he knows he can probably kill this Tempest anytime soon. But will he make it work? This is turning almost into a base trade. Probes are not falling yet. 3 of them fall at a single time. SCV is trying to keep this bunker safe for as long as possible. Finally, Raven gets on top of the Tempest. And it's time for the Vikings to get the first kill of these capital ships. Second one almost going down. Of course, these Vikings don't want to push their luck too much forward, because TY on the other side of the map is dealing so much damage. Nexus is going down in the main of Trap. What he will do against these Vikings trying to put up a fight. The Stalkers are gonna come out into the main. This one Tempest will be saved in the end by the shield batteries. On the other side though, this is devastating. Trap doesn't have an economy anymore. These probes are out of there. But will they be out of there soon enough? It looks like they are. But what can TY do now? These Tempests are getting everything that shoots up over here. One of the Tempests fall down, 2 actually go down, and I think this is game. Trap wasn't able to retreat to the shield barriers in time. Marines are falling down. There is no defense in the base of TY, but production is there, and it's a strong production indeed. 18 SCVs have gone down for TY, yes, but the economy of Trap is nothing. He's literally sending probes into the fight.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting choice here. He's sending these probes up here to fight. He does have 400 minerals saved. I wonder if he's hiding a probe somewhere on the map. This is getting really messy, but I think with these 2 medevacs, that should be enough to finish the game off.
Yeah. GG gets gold. TY gets 1 off Trap, bringing the score to 3-2 in favor of the Protoss player. And this is such a great series. What was this game? Oh my god. Like, Tempest Rush into proxy shield batteries, and then just 2 medivacs basically ended the game, like like that. They just ended it.
Yeah, they just flew all the way around. I think, I don't know, maybe there wasn't a recall. I don't know what the case was there. There were a bunch of Zealots and Adepts, but I think they had kind of been sent into the fight and had already fallen down to some of the bio.
I feel like it was overall, like, not good game decisions over here for Trap. Like, probably stalling it a little bit forward with the Tempest would have been good enough. Of course, you have to deal some damage, but then again, I just don't see this build order being that great against a solid player such as TY. Like, it can work, it can net you a victory when it's very unexpected, but in a best of 9, I feel like players are kind of expecting a little bit everything, especially when their opponent is on a 2 points advantage. So TY, I feel like he basically got one victory a little bit for free. I was expecting Trap to do a little bit better, even with some of the weirder openers in the matchup.
Yeah, I think it would have been nice to have seen, you know, obviously you want to be getting a little bit of damage with those fast Tempests, but if he'd waited, I think 4 is the magic number to one-shot Cyclones, 5 is the magic number to one-shot Vikings. You know, getting to that point could have been good, but of course, if you don't push early enough, then your opponent's just gonna, you know, make a huge cloud of Vikings and fly over and just kill all of your Tempests. So hard to say one way or the other.
Yeah, it's a very hard decision to make anyway. So Trap is still ahead. He's still playing a great series. So I don't feel like it would hinder him too much. Well, let's see.
Yeah, well, speaking of Trap, I'll go ahead and kick it off here. Spawning in the top left-hand side of Nightshade, sporting the color red, it is your Protoss player of this best of 9, none other than Trap.
In the bottom right-hand corner on Nightshade instead, spawning as the blue Terran player, transitioning from player to caster, and then from caster to player. It's this fan favorite guy over here, TY. So this time, Trap not really looking too much for proxies. He's going to go straight through the map with his probe to get himself scouting information. Nightshade, too much of a wide map to check for every nook and cranny. I feel like this is a best choice to get those scouting informations a little bit earlier, and that's what he will do. Probably this series has also stabilized a little bit. Both players will just try to play whatever has worked better for them this far. After the first 5 games, of course, that is probably the best decision.
Yeah, and it looks like Trap is going to go to try to block this command center for a bit. Second SCV coming down to start the fight off and dropping the CC off by just a bit.
Of course, also
that will be
ensuring
fixed later.
the other SCVs stay alive. That's the usual stuff. Everyone is pretty chilled in this early game scenario. The first adept will start in just a little bit. So will the Reaper? Actually not. Actually not.
Well,
the Reaper is already there.
Yeah, we have it down at the 3rd. Nice reactor coming out, so we will see that same kind of marine opening.
Trap also trying to keep his probe alive for further scouting, as always. Probably won't be able to get too much. There is a very early NG bay coming from TY.
Yeah.
That's very early. Like a
I
second
was gonna
Rax,
point that out.
2-1-1. That's what TY is going to do. Third Rax. Okay, this is getting wild.
I think we're going to see a little bit of a big bio push here. Get maybe +1 stim and run across the map. Actually, at this point, we don't have any tech labs. We just have the reactors, so
Yeah,
to see
plus one
what
infantry
these...
weapons. Oh my god, I'm so hyped for this game. Tala Council is on the way for trap. Oh, I see someone typing exclamation mark casters in the chat. We have to add that command. By the way, my name is Acontistes, and my co-caster is F equals MA. You're gonna hear about us a lot, we hope.
Yeah, yeah. I believe both of us are casting for TSL5, so check us out on our individual channels. Have you been doing the European qualifiers so far?
I've been doing both the European and the Korean qualifiers.
Nice, nice.
On this channel actually.
Okay, cool. I think I'm going to be doing North America later this afternoon when it starts up.
This hallucinated Phoenix is going to get basically all the information Trap needs, but what does he make of that information now? Of course he has a shield battery in the natural, he's dropping a robotics facility to align himself to have those colossi out as fast as possible, at least that's my call. TY on the other side, is this an SCV pool? I don't even know what to make of this right now. He's going to expand.
I think this is really interesting. I mean, yeah, I was expecting it to be +1 and stim. We do have combat shields, and maybe that's what TY is waiting for. I guess if he starts moving across the map right now, both combat shield and stim will finish up around the time that he gets there.
He's also starting +1 armor right now. That, like, this build looks exactly like a standard build from Terran, except there is no factory, no starport in this flag. So everything is super rushed.
Yeah, we do have +1 armor coming down now for infantry out of TY. And this little hit squad is moving its way up. I don't know if... I mean, they're probably going to keep this third from going down, but I don't know if they'll be able to push into that immortal and those centuries.
Yeah, TY also retreating the reinforcements. He was sending 2 more Marauders and 2 more Marines through the map. It looks like he has... has he decided to retreat? Like, he's going ahead. You can. He's keeping 1 Marine over there, of course, to try and scout some more. This observer will start following the army of TY extended thermal lance on the way, as well as the first Colossus. Yeah, I don't think TY can do much that isn't taking up double command center. Okay, TY, okay. This is getting into a 3 racks defensive opener, into rush economy, and then... Well, you forced the counter to what you did from your opponent, so I suspect he will try to get Vikings and tanks right now.
Yeah, swapping the factory with the starport. Factory went down, created that reactor. So now he's gonna make those medevacs first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think it's a good call. Of course, he needs those medevacs.
Yeah.
So.
But I think you're right. I do expect to see some Vikings. A scan did go down in the main, so TY is aware. But we do have a little bit of a skirmish happening. As you can say, he is aware of the robotics facility in the robotics bay.
Oh, we don't have a Discord command in the chat. Well, you can join our clan by going into the bottom part of the stream. You can see a Discord link. Click on that and then get in contact with one of our officers. You just have to do that. Meanwhile, it looks like Trap is finally going to embrace his role as the aggressor in the matchup. One War Prism is out. He can walk through the map pretty much freely right now. He doesn't have to be too scared about anything, really. There is 1 missile turret and 2 Vikings out, but this third base is going to be very hard for TY to hold. He probably will need to lift it up. He's going to have a lot of SCV production, so if he's able to hold this, he will be very much ahead economy-wise. SCVs are going to be pulled into the fight, trying to keep everything alive. Of course, the first tank is going to explode. The Vikings doing their best, keeping those Colossi on low health. 13 SCVs will go down. TY can lose them. Now it's time for the tanks and the marines and the marauders to do the rest of the job. Trap currently being held back a little bit, but the Warp Prism is going to enable the reinforcements to get here in time for this push to become even more deadly. 49 workers to 32. TY as the 4th command center can replace those SCVs, but can he make enough army out of the 2 base economy he has right now? Because this contain is keeping on. The Warp Prism is still sieged up, and now it's adding up sentries to keep the force fields and the guardian shields going and going. Trap not going to overextend. He's pretty happy with his position. These Stalkers are getting a little bit dangerously close to the rest of the army of Trap. The Warp Prism almost falls down. There is just 2 Vikings though for TY. He needs more. The command center has been saved for TY. He's having like quite a tough time keeping up with army. But his economy shouldn't be too much behind for too long. 4 orbital commands means a lot of mules. And of course a pretty healthy SCV production. He's going to forfeit it for the time being to have more marines and more of everything. But he has held for the time being.
Yeah, I think that was a really strong push. I mean, picking off all of those workers. I think Trap is in a really strong position at this point. He's already got the Archons underway, adding on his upgrades as well here. So we'll see what this follow-up poke can do.
TY is comfortably getting back on army. He's not really been making more SCVs. He's pretty content with what he has, but he really shouldn't be. I mean, he doesn't really have the tech he needs to keep up with Trap. He will probably be able to at least hold this, but it will be very rough. And he doesn't really have the SCVs to pull into this again. Supply depot in the wall, on the ramp for TY. These Vikings trying to get on the Colossi as quick as possible. The tanks and the Conclave of Marines is going to keep Trap away from the ramp. 1 Colossus also goes down. The Warp Prism is still sieged in. It's time again for these 4 fur base to face a danger. Another Colossus goes down for Trap, and this suddenly looks way better for TY. Trap also going to keep these Stalkers alive by blinking away, but cool hold from TY.
Yeah, I think that really did come down to like getting those Vikings in position, picking off those Colossi. Very well done by TY. But I mean, at this point, these Vikings are going to start turning into dead weight soon. Storm is almost done. We have at this point 4 High Templar that when Storm finishes will have enough energy. I'd love to see a Warp Prism come out and kind of pick those Templar up. There aren't any ghosts as of yet, but the Academy is already done, so I want to make sure that keep those safe from any EMPs and snipes.
6 Vikings, as you said, they're going to be dead weight in a little bit, especially if Trap decides not to lift those High Templars, as you were saying again. Like, I feel like Trap has a little bit of an edge currently, but it's not that big to make a difference. The Warp Prism is collapsing on the fur base with the Zealot run by prepared for Trap, but TY is a little bit off position, a little bit blindsided. These ghosts are going to be feedbacked actually from the High Templars, so just 1 EMP is at the ready. Meanwhile, in the main, finally go down the Zealots. The Warp Prism almost falls down, but it's healthy enough to start another warping of Zealots. It will fall down to the Vikings, and now this army is all that Trap will have to work with into this push. Zealots in the main, hitting left and right. Trap not really committing into the siege location, in the fur base location. Zealots are falling down left and right again. But it's the upgrade advantage that is really doing the job, I think, for TY. Trap just now almost done with +2/+2, and TY can kill things pretty fast right now with EMP and +2/+2. Storm pretty much whips, and it's time for these Marauders to do a lot of the work. One perfect EMP gets on top of a lot of army, and Trap is pulled back.
Now we should note that these 4 ghosts are the only ghosts that are going to be around for a while because
the ghost economy went down. Yeah.
Sniped.
I forgot to point that. And another run by with just 1 zealot, doing quite some work on the other side. 6 more zealots are going to get 1 tank and more workers. TY forced to split his army into +3/+3. He's on the way, but his push will need to be delayed. And Shrap buying himself some time for those disruptors to be out.
Yeah, we do have 2 Liberators ran up to the 3rd base. But a big fight here at the 4th. We'll talk about the Liberators in a moment. Okay, good job kind of forcing him back. We've got Trap here coming in, getting us surrounded with some of these Zealots. Immortal's getting in here. Stalker's blinking up. We do have Disruptors joining the fight now, sending out their Disruption Nova. Gonna only take out a couple units. With some Storms at the ready here, though, I think TY will have to back off.
Devastating damage from Trap, Disruptors, and Storms combining into a deadly cocktail for the Terran player, who's now left with a very bruised army that isn't quite capable of dealing with what Trap is sending through the map. I would like to see a Warp Prism with this as well, but it's not like Trap desperately needs this. Disruption Nova's not gonna get their damage, but the tanks are not going to stay alive for quite a lot of time as well. SCV's falling down again for TY. He's lost quite a fair bit this game. Trap is going to be pushed behind. Well, back even this time, but 55 SCVs have died from TY this game.
I was just looking at that 55 SCVs to the 5 probes. Like I mentioned, there was a Liberator that came into the 3rd base of Trap during all of the fighting and whatnot that was happening. But Trap having the ability to multitask and pick off those Liberators with a few Warped and Stalkers and pulling his probes instantly as soon as the Liberators revealed themselves. Yeah, very well played by both players. Trap starting to push forward here a little bit more. With the additional High Templars and this Disruptor, I think TY will have to be very careful. He's going to have to set up some Liberators and get a Siege Tank here as well. Picking off the Observer, very useful thing here, making sure that that Trap is a little bit blind. But we do have a drop up at the 3rd. We've got Zealots warping in, but there's only 7 of them, and I think this Nexus is going to get sniped off.
This is a great play by TY. Trapped, feeling forced to go into the aggression, will lose 3 High Templars to just a tank shot for free. Nothing will go down for TY except for 1 tank, but here comes the rest of the army here in the 4th base. A lot of SCVs will die instead, and the rest of the army will be stormed down from Trap. Liberators are finally getting into the fight, but it's a little bit too late for that. Only the Colossi are left standing, but on the other side, Zealots are killing the remaining scraps of the economy of the Terran player. And as my friend Todd will say, look at the supply. GG gets cold. And this is 4-2 for Trap. It is match point for the Protoss player.
I think it was good trying to send that drop over. I think, the 1 medevac worth of Marauders and Marines probably wasn't going to do a huge amount at home in that fight, just against all those Colossi and the High Templar and Disruptors. So the thought of maybe, okay, I can hit him here, force a recall, or force him to come home, but actually just force Trap to go in for the kill. I think at the end of the game, it was like 14 SCVs to 50-something probes. So
yeah,
not just
was
the
brutal from Trap, really.
Yeah.
Well, before heading into the next game, I just want to go real quick to my screen to show you something that we will gladly appreciate, and so will the players. Wait a second, let me accept the game first. And let me go back to my screen. Here we are. By clicking on the link I just put up in the chat, I can click on contribute, and then after, of course, signing in with whichever method you find yourself most comfortable with, you can type in the code and just click on contribute to add 50 cents to the prize pool for free using just a tiny bit of your time. Someone in the chat actually said that the Matcherino code... Oh, okay, you used it. Okay. I thought they were over, but I think we still have quite a lot to spare. So make sure you use a little bit of time to add some more money into the prize pool. We will appreciate it, and the players will appreciate it even more.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's something that definitely shows the players your support and helps make sure that events like this can continue happening.
Yeah. Also, sorry if I interrupt you, but you can also get into that Matcherino page if you're interested about learning more from these games. You can actually pay $3 to gain access to all the replays from this series. You can watch these games at your pleasure, and it's going to cost you just the $3 that will be added to the prize pool. So those are going to be money entirely devolved to the players. So if you want to support them and learn a little bit more about the game, you can also do that.
For sure. Well, let's hop into this game, and I already see something kind of wonky coming up. But before we get to that, let's introduce our players.
Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, that's the red Protoss. I want to rush this as quick as possible because things are getting crazy already. He's playing for Gene Air Green Wings, currently at match point. This is Trap.
And spawning in the top right of Eternal Empire, currently teamless, it is your blue Terran player who is building his base in his opponent's base. It is none other than TY.
It was really hard to control my laughter back there because, oh god.
This is such an aggressive position here that I wonder, will this probe even scout it? Is it, oh
my god. Okay, we'll
oh
scout
yeah,
it.
he's there, he finds it. But this time the barracks does finish before the scout finds it, so we're not going to get the delay that we saw in, was it game 4 or 5?
Yeah. I think it was game 4, yeah, game 4.
Game 4, yeah.
The Zealot is out for Trap. We'll stay back home to keep these probes alive for a little longer. Once the Reaper chimes in into the main base of the Protoss player, grenade will go down on the Vespene Geyser probes. But this Reaper will just be forced to kite away the Zealot as long as possible, because now the Stalker is out and it's time for the bunker to do the rest of the job. And I so really like this bunker over here in the natural. Like, you know who's making this build like literally every game without proxying? Kelazur. Kelazur loves to make a bunker into this position.
Yeah. I've been seeing it more and more, and what's actually really frustrating as a Protoss player is a lot of times they'll make the bunker out of the sight range of the Nexus. So, you know, you try to drop your Nexus, or you succeed, right? You drop your Nexus, but you just don't know. Oh!
This has been such a great move by Trap. He moved the Stalker to block on the entrance from the Reaper and get a snipe. Like, he forced TY to pay for the cost of that Zealot with 50 gas of his own. Like, he killed the Zealot, yes, but he had to lose the Reaper to do so. And it's not a fair deal. Not at all. Gas is way more important than minerals. Well, thank you, Mythbuster, for the subscription. And thank you very much for your $100 donation of, I think it was yesterday. Thank you very much.
I was wondering how long this SCV was going to sit there live. It will finally go down to the Adept and the Stalker. They cleared out the bunker and killed the Reaper, but then left the SCV to wallow in fear for a moment.
TY just going classic TY move. Double command center will be dropped in his main base after the starport. He will have a Cyclone for defense, And he will add a Raven as well with a bunker in the natural. And he will try to rush economy as fast as possible while keeping a defensive stance for the time being.
Yeah. So looking at this, we don't have a huge army here. It's one tank, oh, excuse me, the tank is not quite done yet. We've got 2 Cyclones and 2 Marines. I think that should be enough to hold off these Stalkers adapting the Oracle.
Yeah, definitely. The Raven will be key though to keep these Phoenixes and Oracles at bay. The lock-on goes on top of the Phoenix and will survive. Trap being able to keep the one Phoenix alive.
Yeah, it is very low, very close to falling to those Cyclones. You know, one extra shot would have killed it, but Trap having control to just pull it back at exactly the right moment to stay alive.
Second orbital command will go up for TY. There is one Viking being added, one more in production. It's time for TY to start adding up those production facilities. One more Rex will be made in a little bit. Actually, it's just the one that is currently landing. So we've been talking about this quite a lot. I've seen talks of this in the chat as well, and I think it will come because TY has showed us this great mech plays against Deer, but immediately after I said the word mech, an engineering bay has been dropped by TY. There could be an engineering bay to enable an armory, I don't know. But the Banshee Cloak is on the way, and that is already getting very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, currently we don't have a Robo. Twilight Council is down, and you know, we've got an Oracle, several Oracles actually, so we will have Revelations. But those Oracles will have to run home if that Banshee gets over there. Or better yet, they will probably be recalled to help deal with the Cloaked Banshee.
The amount of map control that Trap has had for the whole game is just very outstanding. Like, he has kept control of the map for the whole game, basically. Like, TY cannot really walk through the map without being too scared. These Oracle are also going to drop a Revelation and enable Trap to gain even more control of this match this far. Of course, these Oracles also trying to dive down on top of the enemy units, are going to get one Cyclone, but the damage has been dealt by TY as well, getting one Oracle and one Phoenix down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that trade was quite worth it, but it definitely does kind of, you know, force TY to pay attention to his army, right? If he's looking elsewhere, trying to macro, and he slips up, and he's going to lose that Raven, he's going to lose the Cyclones, and then if the Marines go down, then, you know, after that go the tanks, and it's a slippery slope.
The Banshee's cloaked before these Phoenixes can deal too much damage, but 4 workers, as you were saying, have been killed by the Oracles. Hyper Flight Rotors, 2 tanks at the same time. Everybody, this is Mech Terran versus Protoss. The TY special, and let's see if it pulls it off here against Trap as well as he did against TY. We were all waiting for this moment. Oh, I'm so excited. Have you seen the series versus DR?
Not yet. I was actually going to probably watch that later today. I was talking to ITaX about it. We were trying to figure out, trying to bet on who's going to make it out. We both pegged TY as making it. There's some contention about whether or not Deer was going to manage.
So I spoiled it for you. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was already aware. I apologize for spoiling it to anybody else in chat.
Yeah, it's a great series. It was a great group stage. I just highly suggest everyone to take a look at it. You see magnified accelerator, +1 armor and weapons for mech, and blue flame upgrade going on for TY. All these special mech upgrades that are kind of needed for all your necessities. You see also 4th command center being dropped by TY Trap also playing defensively right now. Once he acknowledged this was a mech, he doesn't really want to push his luck too much. He knows he's one game away from winning the series. He doesn't really want to make too many mistakes. He's just starting his opponent for now.
Now, one and probably both of these benches are going to fall. A Revelation went down and the Phoenixes were able to chase them, and sure enough, both benches will fall at this point. Some of the vision of Trap is going to get cleared up. This pylon is gone, as well as the stasis ward that was sitting near that rich Vespane Geyser base.
The amount of vision that Trap has is still outstanding. Like, he has units on the whole map, plus one probe over here. Like, this is looking crazy good from Trap, really.
Yeah, dropping another Revelation on the entire army, basically, here. I think there's like one tank that made it out safely. Very good vision from our Protoss player.
Plus one ground weapons almost done, as well as a Robo-Bay. Robo-Bay disruptors are probably going to be the play, but with a planetary being dropped by TY at the 4th base, it's going to be harder and harder for Trap to do anything. Once +2/+2 will be done, and I feel like TY is currently trying to rush for those upgrades. This will be a very hard army to deal with, and here comes a very big engagement. Those Cyclones trying to lock on top of the air units will get some damage done, but not too much. The Hellions will fall to the rest of the ground army, but the engagement went overall in favor of TY, able to snag down some key units and losing basically only some Hellions into the battle, and maybe a couple Cyclones. Very replaceable units right now for TY.
Yeah, very good engagement. At first it looked like it could have been kind of dicey, but like you said, TY coming out kind of with an advantage there.
Trap currently trying to push into the choke point. Of course, he backs off as soon as the rest of the army from TY joins, and it's very hard to see a way for Trap to actually get against this with extended thermal lens Colossi for me. Like, I think this is something that players still have to kind of understand how to play against. I feel like it's a very unique style that mixes battle mech with a standard mech and cuts off the doors out of the equation. But this is already looking very dicey. TY pushing over here, the 5th base of Trap. Meanwhile, the Protoss player trying to pincer move his opponent. He doesn't have a lot of things to do so though, and the tanks are already sieged. The Oracles and the Phoenixes trying to get on top of everything, as well as the Zealots being dropped on the army of TY. Everything is falling down for both players, but the army of TY was effectively pincered into a loss of the engagement. These Banshees are still quite able to deal a lot of damage if the Stalkers are kept at bay by the Cyclones, but it looks like TY will just withdraw and leave to fight another day.
Yeah, both players losing a huge amount of army there. I'm looking at the army plots, and definitely a lot going down, but I think that did come out slightly favoring Trap. And Trap is going to come over here and be able to deny this 5th command center from taking, and actually killed the command center altogether before getting out with the Stalkers and Archons. Banshee's coming over here to the high yield base, gonna start killing off some probes, maybe pick off some High Templar. One of them going down, the second one definitely going down as well. Recall is forced here, but it's mostly Immortals that got recalled, which I don't know if you know this, Immortals don't really shoot up very well.
No, so I am told. Stalkers do shoot up and can blink forward to get one Phoenix. By the way, thank you very much, Stats, for the follow. I completely missed that. Sorry about it. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's that Stats, by the way.
Yeah.
+3/+3 on the way as well for TY. Right now, if he's able to get those upgrades, he will be at a massive upgrade advantage to his opponent, who's only getting +3 armor right now. but the upgrade for mech units are so important. SCVs are need to be pulled into the fight over here. Meanwhile, basically the players are trading shots at each other. The Banshees are keeping those Immortals out of the fight, and these tanks are just shooting down everything. TY on the other side of the map is dealing outstanding damage with his battle mech side of the army. And TY is doing again with mech versus Protoss. Trap is falling apart. He's forced to retreat from his aggressive position, and he's going to be forced to lose to next side. And here comes the dots from Trap. He will blink forward on top of the Cyclones, but look at this supply.
Oof. Oh, the
Mech is
counter ... and Mech is king coming out of TY. Players having some fun here with one another. Yeah, I think it's actually really important to note that I don't believe we had a recall available because of that earlier recall for the Banshees. So TY, aware of that, sending those Cyclones over. Here we do have another engage. Storm coming down, not particularly useful against these things, and that is going to be GG.
Trap doesn't really want to fight that army in that location, and TY will block his opponent from getting the victory here on Eternal Empire. And yeah, Hero Marine said that like this is a great mech map for Terran, but like this is a great map for Terran, period. Like Eternal Empire is just the ultimate Terran map, and TY exploited this style perfectly. I feel like this was just like an incredible show of how even an uncommon style can work so well in the hands of a player that knows what to do with it.
Yeah, and I think TY showed exactly how to do it. So certainly, I'm assuming that when I go catch up on some of those GSL matches and watch the Deer versus TY, that I'll get to see a little bit more of this. But like you said, it's such a kind of like burgeoning, kind of newish style. I mean, obviously mech has always been around, but Deer did for this. Yeah, it's fun to see this, and I'm excited to see what Protoss players are going to start doing to react to it.
Yeah, I just don't think like this kind of style can work with everyone really. Like I feel like there are some players that can do it and some other that just can't. And TY is of course in the former of these kind of players. Like this game has been such an incredible show of dominance, of proficiency with a well determined playstyle, the double command center rush to get the economy faster, to get those upgrades faster, and grant yourself a very good defensive position. I feel like TY got this like perfectly. Like he nailed this build order, and I feel like it's very hard for most of the players to find a way to beat this, because if it is hard for Trap to actually beat this style, like who else gonna find it easy? Like I don't know, Zest, who is the ultimate aggressive player, maybe can break you before you get to the critical mass, but then again, that is just conjecture.
As we're climbing into this game, I do want to do one more shout out. I know we talked about them earlier, but this is Game 7, and I'm sure these players are starting to get tired. But you know what's one way to keep from getting tired? It's to drink G Fuel. G Fuel is, of course, one of our sponsors here, and it's an energy drink that ramps your energy up from 0 to 100 real quick. Make sure that you can stay focused on the games, and make sure that you can find all these sneaky little proxy SCVs that make their way across the map. So big shout out to G Fuel. Thank you to them for supporting us and supporting esports. Make sure those of you who have access to it, go ahead and try out some of their stuff. I know Apatisis was talking about their new flavors, so get in there on that collection before it goes away. Yeah, let's introduce our players and then talk about what's happening on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, just like I don't even know what to say anymore. But by the way, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Nightshade, currently still at match point, The red Protoss playing for Gina Green Wings. It is Trap.
And spawning in the top left, I know I made this joke earlier, but he is making his base in his opponent's base. It is none other than your blue Terran player, TY. I guess this is slightly removed. You know, this is maybe the third. This time he's actually electing to go for the 2 racks. So
Yes, it is.
With this gas, I do expect it to be a lot of Reaper aggression.
Do you? I feel like this is heavy Marine. Like, it's the classical 2 racks proxy with Marines and the bunker. Oh, this SCV is very low. It will go down, very removed by Trap. The macro is there, but also 1 Marine. This bunker has still a long way to go before being done, and it will not go down. But once again, this is the least committed of the proxies, really. Oh, yeah, double Marine. Okay, so this bunker will maybe go down. There is a Zealot on the way, still no Stalker. Of course, getting high ground vision is going to be quite a complicated feat for TY without Reapers. But once again, he's just adding up a factory back home. So it's not like this is a do or die. The bunker is done. A lot of probes are dying left and right. Like, this is already a mess. There is no SCV to repair the bunker and no salvage coming down yet. The Rex will enable TY to get high ground vision. If this pylon goes down, this is a disaster already. Shield battery saving the pylon. Bunker not salvaged. He will burn down. But yeah, I think it was pretty even overall.
Yeah. You're right. With only that 1 gas, that was definitely going to be Marines. I don't know why I said Reapers. I do think that was super clever, though, trying to use this other barracks to get that high ground vision.
Yeah, it was very good.
The shield battery was able to heal up that pylon, but if it hadn't, I think we could have seen a lot more damage coming out from those Marines. You have 1 command center started here. We'll see if TY decides to go for that aggressive 3rd command center right off the bat.
Well, it could be. Like, Nightshade is also another map. I feel like it could be a good mech map. I still feel like it's a little bit harder to hold the third base, and I feel like the choice of Trap of going onto Nightshade for this game was especially to prepare a push onto the third base of the Terran. But then again, TY can do a couple things to metagame his opponent even more. So let's see.
Yeah.
There's going to be a second Rex being dropped, so it looks like TY will go into a heavier bio play. 3 racks, usual, standard bio play for you. The command center will turn into an orbital command in time to grant the Terran player a little bit of boost in economy, while Trap prepares his Blink Stalkers to deal the damage.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we do have a Banshee coming out. We don't have Cloak from it quite yet. Wow, I do want to say huge shout out to Goomba dropping a $100 donation.
Oh my god, how didn't I see it?
Match.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Goomba. Yeah, this is on the Match Reno page. The players here hugely appreciate it. I will. I'm sure they will. They would thank you, but they are in game, so I will thank you on their behalf.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Like, it's not like I cannot stress like this. Like, I appreciate this so much, and everyone in ITaX and the players appreciated this incredibly much. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Donations like this definitely show the players that they are valued. Show them that playing in events put together by ITaX are worth playing in. So I think just echoing Akantis's comment, we the people here putting on events, thank you, and the players also. So yeah. All right, we do have the Observer going down in the main. You know, Raven pops out, helps the Marines snipe that.
There's one Cyclone trying to poke a little bit to stop Trap on his tracks for the time being. The Banshee is still trying to find a way to get some damage done. Of course, there is no cloak, so this Banshee will have a pretty tough time getting anything done. But the Cyclone will be, in the end, killed by Trap. But then again, it's not like there were many uses for it. TY will find itself a way into the main base of Trap. There is one shield battery in the main as well. So this is just going to be very good scouting information, which is already enough to justify the expense for this Banshee, in my opinion. But then again, not a lot of damage will be dealt by these flying aggressive units. The third command center will be dropped by TY, who has quite a strong army right now. Like, he's really making it a normal standard opener in the cleanest way possible. Like, he's reminding me a lot of Innovation right now. Like, if he could push right now, if he decided to push right now, it would be like a very tough position for Trap. But he's not really pushing his luck though.
These medevacs are gonna fly right past. Ships passing in the night. I think they caught like a half-second glimpse of one another.
I was looking at the vision of both players, and both players actually have seen the dot on the map, the little glimpse of something flying through. But then again, like, you cannot really know if they actually have seen it. Templar Archives is finished for Trap. This means the first High Templars will be done. It looks like Trap is caught a little bit out of position. There are two Skulkers to deal with the drop, but it's not like these Marines will not do anything. Probes need to be called. One Storm was pretty much wasted on a bunch of Marines. And on the other side, TY is just making more and more army. It's looking to drop left and right with too many backs on one side and two on the other. Meanwhile, 5 Probes have died. I don't even know where and what killed them. It was probably just with the drop, but I didn't see like 5 Probes dying. It's still like, TY is so much ahead. How is it so much ahead? How is it even possible?
Yeah, I mean, he's got his third command center, but it's just turning into an orbital now. So it's not like he's been pulling out so many workers from that. A little bit of engagement here. One mine will shoot, killing a couple of zealots. Another mine burrowing here. Hallucinated Phoenix going out to bait that. But we do have the drop coming back into the natural of Trap. 2 High Templar are here, but one of them's going to get picked up, and the other going to also die before getting anything done. Cannon's going to kill 1 Marine, maybe a 2nd Marine. But while this is happening, we've got 4 medevacs heading into the main. Well, possibly the 3rd. We'll see. They're kind of sitting here, floating between both of them at this time. TY doing a great job of pulling Trap left and right, up and down. Okay, units unloading here. Storm's coming in, dropping 1, or High Templar dropping 1 Storm. Ooh, storming his own High Templar there. I think there's a little bit of a misclick. Marines still coming in, killing 8 workers, 9 workers, falling back. Another High Templar is going to fall, and these units are going to pick up, fly into the natural here. But there's a push coming into that 3rd base of Trap. 1 medevac does get picked off.
But the performance over here from TY is just incredible. TY pulling his opponent apart in many different positions. 10 probes have fallen down as if this wasn't enough already. The transition into Liberators is ready. A storm drop gets into the main of TY, killing 13 SCVs. The Liberators were in position to deal with it. Meanwhile, there is no more army, no more economy, nothing going on for Trap. TY ties the score and brings the series to game 9.
Yeah, very well done by TY.
Just, I'm mind blown right now. Like, this was the perfect Terran game. Like, everyone who wants to learn how to play Terran should drop the $3 into Match Arena, get the replays, and watch this game over and over and over and over and over. Like, this was perfect Terran play.
Yeah, well, the other nice thing is, like, you can see all of the different styles, right? This game, TY kind of went for that more drop-heavy Marine Marauder composition, whereas we had that mech game earlier. So TY really showing us the full breadth of kind of plays that he is capable of pulling off. Very well done. I'm excited to see what happens in this last game.
Like it was almost looking like he was holding back, because these last 2 games have been a stomp. Like it's very hard for me to imagine like Trap being so dominant in the first half of the series, and right now TY is looking unstoppable. Really, like these last 2 games, incredible game. Like he was 40 supply ahead without doing anything really, and then he just must drop his opponent, like playing like Bomber would have played in the past, and just getting it done. I'm very excited.
You know what it was? He saw that big contribution to the Matcherino page in between the games. He's like, oh, I gotta step this up.
Warman in the chat, doesn't look like TY is playing his opponent, like giving him a couple of mats with Purfight and then hitting him with style. And I feel like this is a possibility. Trap choosing Zen as the last map of the series. And then again, Zen is a very easy map to get on free bases. Like the free base is kind of easy to hold. Of course, you have that weird close rush distance in case you decide to cheese to rush or do those kinds of things, but it's not like Zen is not a macro map. Like if it wasn't for that ease of scouting and those weird locations, this would have been a perfectly standard map for everything else, because it's not very hard to hold a big push on this map. And I see a lot of Terran versus Protoss games go past the 10-minute mark on Zen.
Yeah, that is something you're talking about, the short rush distance on this map. We've seen TY go for a couple of really fast proxies. We haven't seen Trap do that. I don't think we're going to, just because this is game 9. I think it's a little bit risky. I think Trap is just going to be much more comfortable in trying to like.
Thank you to Dog for the follow, by the way. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. So I expect Trap to play a standard opening. In fact, I think both players are going to go for something standard here. That's just my prediction.
Also, because the last game on Zen was pretty much a mess. Like both players proxied. The proxy of TY was scouted immediately. Then the Stargate proxy from Trap ended the game in a second, and it was quite a mess.
That's true.
But sorry for interrupting. What were you saying?
No. I think that's a good point. You're right. I was thinking about we have gotten some proxies out of Trap. It wasn't anything quite as cheesy as like a cannon rush or like some sort of proxy 2-gate, something like that. I think against Terran players, those are a little bit harder to hold off because Terrans can wall. So it's likely why we haven't seen anything like that. But yeah,
it was also like the reactive play from Trap here on Zen on the last map, as you were saying, cannot really be considered like this aggressive kind of proxy. It was just a reaction to what your opponent was doing. So I very much agree with what you are saying.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I know that I stopped your barracks. That means your cyclones are going to be late, which means I can get some damage done with these early oracles. All right, let's get in here and introduce our players. Take it away.
Of course, it is my pleasure to talk a little bit about the guy who's spawning in the top right hand corner of Zen as the Red Protoss, one of the fan favorites of all times, one of the greatest Protoss players of all times. He plays for Jin Air Greenwings. He is Trap.
In spawning in the bottom left, no slouch himself. I think rated as one of the top Terrans currently as well. I think he's top 10 in the world overall, something like that according to the Legal Act. It is our blue Terran player, TY. Now, Trap being very careful, scouting for all sorts of proxy locations. Doesn't want to die to something silly in this last game of the series.
And talking about something silly, double racks from TY from the get-go. What do we have here? Again, the triple racks into double command center opener.
Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing.
It's gonna be a little bit harder to scout for a trap. The Wolof will go down with the supply depot being dropped. A B gets dropped by ITY by Trap in the chat.
Please lower wall, let me scout.
Yeah, it could be the meaning. Okay, so second Reaper on the way for TY. Like, TY was definitely looking like the guy who was looking to hide something. Like, keeping that supply depot at low health, it was looking like he was hiding something. I hope Inu will translate what the guys are saying each other. Because
yeah.
I'm very interested in this friendly banter that is going on right now. So it looks like TY is going to double it down with Reapers. Two more on the way. A third Rax as well. He's not making Marines whatsoever. He's just making Reapers and Reapers and Reapers and Reapers. And this looks like... Can this be the triple Rax? Like just Barracks and Reapers and that's all. I see now the second gas being dropped by TY. That's a little bit on the late side. That's why I don't think he will try to go too deep into this. But he has 3 Reapers in the main base of Trap right now. Toilet Council is on the way indeed. As well as Shield Battery and Blink. But TY has quite a healthy amount of Reapers. 4 of them are going to threaten the probes of Trap a lot. This will also grant the Terran player some map control that is allowing him to send this SCV through the map, and I think he has something cheeky in mind.
Yeah, this SCV is certainly not an accident. It's making its way up to the top here. We'll have to see what it puts down as these Reapers continue to fight, and they're going to be able to pick off one of these Stalkers for free at this point.
Yeah, and probably another one will also fall. The Adept is also out of position. Another Stalker pulls out of the gateway, but almost falls as well. This Reaper pulling up a fight right now. The probes are going to be pulled out of this mineral line for a little while, to the cost of losing a couple of them. These Stalkers trying to put up a fight. One of them will fall, and this grenade will help these Reapers to stay alive for a little while longer. The Adept is shading, trying to chase down the remaining Reapers. One of them will fall, the second one will fall as well, but so will the Adept. And 2 Reapers will escape with their lives. TY, once again, small trades, even a suboptimal bid order, will grant him a fair army advantage, because right now, look at him, combat shields is done, steam is, well, it's almost done, and he's sending a bulky army of bio through the map, and so I think we finally know the purpose of this hidden SCV. I think this will be an all-out contain. I think this will be a bunker being dropped over here by TY.
Yeah. Reapers in the main trying to draw the army back.
Yes,
not really going to be effective. Oh, but the attention was drawn, so the force fields are not going to be able to lock these bio units out. They're going to go ahead and kill this pylon.
The SCB actually fell immediately after entering the natural of Trap. And TY is basically jazzing this game right now, adding up steam pack, infantry weapons. Now he has the reactor factory ready to swap with the soon to be made starport to start making those medivacs. And we haven't seen the rush in tech that Trap had against this free rack style on Nightshade. Like in that scenario, he rushed tech a lot. He had those Colossi out very quickly, as well as Storm. So in the end, he had what it takes to actually beat this heavy bio style. But right now, just now, he's adding a robotics bay, and TY is already making those medivacs. Like in the game on Nightshade, at this stage, Trap already had his first Colossus out.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to note. I think we will see one Colossus at least finish before the push gets across the map. Zealot charge is on the way. But also, in order to get that Colossus, I think some Chronos are going to be forced to be used on that robotics facility instead of on probes. Sure enough, the robotics bay finishes, and I expect to see, there it is, the Colossus starting pretty much immediately thereafter. These Stalkers are going to force the Bio to stay here. Marauders stimming and running up, Blink coming out from the Stalkers. These Observers just kind of stay with this Bio army, make sure that Trap is aware of where it is at all times.
Oh, he was left behind in the end, the poor
Yeah.
observer. Charge is almost done as well, so this army of Trap will try to push into a choke point. Good save over there by TY. Little move on this Marauder to keep all of his army alive. And this time TY doesn't want to make the same mistake as on Nightshade. He's making those Liberators a little bit on the quicker side. We don't actually see Trap doing anything out of this Robo Bay right now. Yes, one Colossus, yes, but he's not making any more. He's not even making Disruptors. He's just getting into Storm as quick as possible. He decided to basically forfeit the opportunity to kill this Bio army with Colossi, and he decided to go straight into Storm. And once again, this is like 300 IQ play from both players. Like, immediately went into Liberators, of course I'm talking about TY, to try and counter Disruptors and try to keep everything at bay, like High Templars, Stalkers, and all of these key units. And meanwhile, knowing that Liberators would have been into play, Trap skipped the Disruptors, skipped the Colossi and went straight into Storm. But right now this engagement is not going in favor of the Protoss player. TY fighting a little bit more than he could chew as well, being trapped in those force fields. Needs to retreat a little bit before engaging again. Right now Storm is done, 4 High Templars are joining the battle, and meanwhile one Liberator is ramping up a couple kills in terms of probes. One in the third base, one in the main. The army of TY was looking to retreat, but these Stalkers are too juicy of a target. They have been hunted down. The Colossus and the Zealots are trying to get on the battle, but 18 probes have fallen for Trap. The Colossus dies as well, and it's time for TY to lift up his units and get into the main base of his opponent. No recall at the ready, there is not enough energy, and so much will fall for the Protoss player. TY is doing it. 49 workers for Trap, 65 for TY, and the Templar Archives goes down as well. So many key buildings and units have gone down for Trap. His production tab is empty right now. I think the Protoss player is kind of too blindsided. I don't know how he can recover from this, but it looks like he's building up army and he wants to push through the map to make a last stand on this game number 9.
Yeah, we do have one Warp Prism over there, but like you said, I think sending those Liberators one into the main, one into the natural, while that fight was going on is brilliant. Of course, some Bio unit's going to get picked off here, but if this engage continues, the Protoss is going to lose everything. Oh, 1 Sentry almost getting picked off. Storm coming down on some Marauders, not doing a huge amount of damage as they get picked up and pulled behind the force fields.
Well, Templar Archives is going to be replaced for Trap, but just looking at the production tab for both players is just a little bit too much terrain going on. Of course, this army is very strong for Trap. The Storms are getting forward and forward, and this is already looking very rough for TY. Something I was not expecting. One good EMP gets the whole army of Trap. Defender's advantage will be important. That Warp Prism is still enabling Trap to reinforce this position as quick as possible. SCVs are falling for this fight, but it's enough for now because TY has held once more, and every time he holds a little push from Trap, he gets even more ahead. 65 army to 34. Yes, one tank in position. Those Stalkers are going to get themselves a free shot, and there is one more base on the way. Missile turrets are going to threaten the life of this Warp Prism that was flying into his head. Trap taps out, and TY is the winner of Into the ITaX series number 2.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how well that fight seemed to be going at the beginning for Trap there.
Yeah.
Um, then there was, I think you pointed out, there's like a key EMP that went in and hit like most of the army of Trap, and then it also like took out. I think there's one more storm on High Templar, and it took the energy out on that. And I think if the EMP hadn't been there, perhaps Trap could have broken in and forced a lift on that base.
At
Maybe
least got enough SCVs to force TY into a defensive position. At that point, like, Trap was forced to deal more damage because he didn't deal enough damage with that push. And yeah, it was brilliant. Also because that one ghost that got the MP was a fresh one. It was just fresh out of the barracks. It was just running through the natural and arrived there, and TY knew that ghost was just being done. He got it, he got the perfect EMP, and he got the engagement that got him the game, pretty much. Even though Trap, like, losing 3 in a row must feel rough for him, but let's not forget, like, this was a very close series, and Trap was very close to winning this after the 6th game. Then TY just decided to play one of the best 3 games I've ever seen in this matchup ever, because it's just very hard for me to think like a better 3 games in a row from a Terran player against any Protoss. Like, it's very hard for me to imagine something better than this.
Yeah, no, I think that was beautifully executed by TY.
And 3 like incredibly different styles as well.
Yeah. I have a friend that I'm definitely, he's been trying to play kind of like mech / sky Terran since like Heart of the Swarm. And I'm definitely going to tell him to check out some of these games.
Yeah, of course. So. Once again, guys, thank you very much for watching, first of all, but you can type !matchtrino in the chat to bring up the code that you can then readily use for free in just a little bit of time to contribute to the prize pool and add some money into the pockets of these great players without actually spending anything. And if you want to spend something and want to contribute even more proactively and do something for yourself as well, inside the Matcherino page you can actually buy the replay pack from this series, so you're gonna get yourself 9 incredible games from TY and Trap at the price of $3. So just make sure you use the Matcherino because it's free. We appreciate it, the players appreciate it, and it all goes into their pockets. So
huge thank you and shout out to the players for spending their time with us and putting on such lovely content. Shout out to all of the people organizing things behind the scenes, Sushi, everybody else with the AlphaX team. And thank you for being a wonderful co-caster.
Oh, thank you very much for being my co-caster as well, for joining any time I'm in need of you. So thank you very much. I always enjoy casting these events for you, and thank you very much to everyone in the chat who spent time with us, who kept talking about the games, and of course thank you for supporting AlphaX, for supporting us. And I will just talking about casters, there is one friend of ours, one of our main casters, and I would very much like for you to go tell him hi from me. I'm talking about Kozan, our main caster. And
you gonna raid him right now?
Yep, yes I am. Once again, thank you very much. I cannot stress forward how much I've enjoyed looking at this series, casting this series with all of you, and of course with my partner over here. It has been a great experience for me, and it has been a great series. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next event, and I'll see you tomorrow actually for Caliber versus B on Africa TV. See you there.
Bye.